Let's start like that. What is the outcome of the war between Israel and Iran? I mean, what is the aftermath? What left the war behind?
The world is left behind with Israel becoming more reckless, with yet another very serious violation by Israel. This is something that, Israel was given permission to do by the world forever, just invading any nearby country without any consequences. This time, it was way more serious. The world, in the aftermath, so the Israeli army came as this incredible hero that can do whatever it wants and has unlimited abilities, technologic abilities and otherwise. But we also, in the aftermath, we also must remember that the central cities in Israel were bombed like it never happened before. Israel was managed to divert the public attention, both inside Israel and the international public attention, from Gaza. And it obstructed the nuclear negotiation that were promoting very nicely between the United States and Iran, which was a very clear goal by Israel. I'm not sure that we can declare this a huge victory for Israel, because for the first time in a very long time, the Israeli public tasted what it means to go to war with an actual country, not with, semi-military groups like Hamas or Hezbollah, but with an actual country with military abilities. And it really shocked the Israeli public. For almost 2 weeks, we slept in shelters. We lost dozens of people. The destruction, the footage of destruction from cities like Tel Aviv, Bat Yam, Be'er Sheva, were very similar to the photos that we see from Gaza, like ruins of buildings, etc. So I'm not sure that was such a huge victory for Israel in the aftermath.
Okay, I'm listening to you and I'm thinking in the same time, and I'm trying to understand, if you are right, why the Israeli society, why the Israeli media, they are talking about victory? Especially the Israeli society.
Because the Israeli society desperately needs, psychologically more than anything, a military victory. This is a society that has been in a distant war, that its troops are in Gaza for more than 20 months, and they don't see any results. And this is against Hamas. Hamas is not, an army. And the military was not able, the big Israeli military army was not able to crush Hamas after almost 2 years. This is a huge blow, and people started losing confidence in the army, in the government, and the hostages are not back yet. So all of a sudden, the Israeli public was given this brand new war, and we must remember that Iran has been built up as the ultimate demon by Netanyahu for more than 2 decades. So all of a sudden, we have this new war with total justification by the Israeli public, because they were led to believe that Iran is very close to achieving nuclear weapon, which we now know it was just a lie. How can it be, for 20 years they are saying to us Iran is just a step away from nuclear weapon? How can it be? How is it possible? And we know now that it was just an excuse. But it was a good excuse, and it was very successful with the Israeli public. Even Netanyahu's biggest opponents applaud him for this war. He is a national hero. It still is not translated in the public opinion polls. I mean, he still, according to the polls, cannot form a government in the next elections, but he was able to rehabilitate his own image, and also the army was needed desperately to rehabilitate its image after the long war in Gaza. And I think that to a great extent they both succeeded to do that.
Okay, I will stay on what you said right now, and I will ask you how is influence in Gaza, the current outcome, the current victory, whatever, of Israel towards Iran. So, if you consider the fact that Donald Trump, he didn't succeed in Ukraine, I mean, what he wanted to implement, to bring the two sides to an agreement and to finish the war in 1 month, like it was the pre-election statement and commitment from his side. So we see that he managed to put the two sides to agree on something, even in a verbal way, Iran and Israel, and to implement it. What has that been for Gaza? Now is the time to move on and to move towards where? To what?
Yeah, this is a very strong sentiment within the Israeli public right now. And the hostage families are saying it, and in the demonstrations they are saying it. If we were able to achieve some sort of an agreement with Iran, is it really that impossible to achieve an agreement with Hamas that will lead to the release of the hostages? This demand is growing within the Israeli society. There are no more excuses, but we know that Netanyahu is still hostage in the hands of the more extreme, the extremists in his government. Take Bezalel Smotrich, for example. In the polls, he doesn't pass the threshold. Like this is a person who has no support within the Israeli public. His party will not enter the parliament in the next elections, according to all polls. But he grabs Netanyahu right now by the throat, along with Itamar Ben-Gvir, and they are de facto dictating the policies of Israel vis-a-vis Hamas, vis-a-vis Gaza, since the very beginning. And it's not just vis-a-vis Gaza, by the way. We should keep a very close eye on what's happening in the West Bank. While the world's attention returns to Gaza, there is an escalated ethnic cleansing that is happening right now in the West Bank. Settler violence supported by the Israeli army already managed to evacuate dozens of Palestinian communities in the West Bank just for the fear for their lives. We know that there is an immediate threat in Musafar Yatta for a massive evacuation of people. So those extremist fascist elements in the Israeli government, who don't have such a huge base of support within the Israeli public, are de facto now dictating the Israeli policy both in Gaza and also in the West Bank. And also, by the way, inside 48 when it comes to the Palestinian citizens. And I think that this is not disconnected from the bigger story. The fact that Itamar Ben-Gvir is in charge of the Israeli police, who does absolutely nothing against the ongoing horror that is being implemented by the organized crime in the Palestinian society inside 48. This is the police job. I mean, we used to have Jewish organized crime in Israel. We used to have that. But the police just decided to end it, and it finished. It ended. They don't want to do that. this is another mechanism of control and of divide and conquer. And I think that we should see, a more holistic, we should hold a more holistic understanding of the Israeli policies vis-à-vis the Palestinians wherever they are.
And let's go to the rumors of an agreement that is on the table, and there's a discussion about it between Israel and the United States of America. It's very interesting that the rumors are not including the Palestinian side on the negotiations.
Yeah.
And about the agreement, what we know, without to be confirmed, if you know something more, I want to listen it. It will take 2 weeks to complete the agreement, to form it. It will exclude Hamas from the future of Gaza. 4 Arab countries will run will rebuild Gaza and will run the authority of the place of Gaza, and it will be an agreement with foreign countries to accept Palestinian refugees.
I mean,
first of all, how it sounds to you as an idea?
I think that any attempt to bypass the Palestinian case and to bypass the Palestinian legal moral right for sovereignty, for independence, for statehood is not only immoral but also completely futile, completely undoable. We know that from the recent history. We've seen what happened. This is a long time, a fantasy of Israel that it can bypass Palestinians and make agreements, with different Arab countries. That was the rationale of the Abraham Accord, the deal of a century and whatnot. And Netanyahu spoke about economic peace for a long time at the previous terms. This is not, the Palestinians will keep on resisting and will keep on fighting for their independence. This is not, it's not even a moral observation, it's just a factual observation. Regarding Arab countries taking in Palestinian refugees, I really honestly do not see an Arab country who will take that risk. We saw what happened in Lebanon. We saw what happened in Jordan. This is a recipe for instability inside those countries. Also, we should take into consideration that maybe the Arab governments would like, some sort of an agreement with Israel. It will bring them a lot of benefits vis-a-vis the United States and Europe. But the public opinion in the Arab world is in a totally different place. I don't see the Egyptian government taking that risk of aggravating such unease within their own people, within the Egyptian public, by allowing Israel to sort of finish the Gazan problem by bringing in, taking in 2 million Gazans or however. This is a recipe, it's a recipe for suicide for any Arab country.
In the same time, on the paper that released, and it's describing what will be the future Palestinian state, and it's under discussion between the Israeli side and the American side. It's written about, there is an article about the Palestinian Authority, about the two-state solution, that it's a must, and we will have to come to an agreement of two-state solution. After the reformation of Palestinian Authority, what you can understand from that? I mean, what reformation?
I think really anybody who talks about a two-state solution is living in the 90s. I mean, how is it possible? First, I want to hear Netanyahu say that even Israel is even willing. Netanyahu has been saying repeatedly there will be no Palestinian state. So until he publicly acknowledges the possibility of a Palestinian state, what is there to talk about? Specifically regarding the two-state solution, you know, we are sitting here in Jerusalem. If I took you for, you know, a drive to East Jerusalem and see what's happening here, you see that there is no, I mean, it's even just, if you just look at Jerusalem, it's impossible to divide into two capitals. Israelis will never accept it now. And also, we have more than 300,000 settlers in the West Bank, Jewish settlers in the West Bank. I don't see in the next century...
It's not small, the number that you mentioned? I thought it was around 700,000.
It's around, with East Jerusalem, yes. With East Jerusalem, yes. It's, but in the, you know, within the Palestinian areas, in the next century, we won't have an Israeli leader who will, you know, dare to speak about evicting. I think that we need now more creative solutions. We must, you know, continue to more creative solutions, either in the form of one democratic state or two states with some sort of a confederational arrangement which allows freedom of movement for all the inhabitants between the river and the sea, something along those lines. The classical two-state solution became irrelevant about 2 decades ago.
Two more questions. After the agreement between Israel and Iran, Donald Trump came out with the nickname of the peacemaker. So I'm wondering, listening and reading what is behind the scenes and what is happening behind the scenes, and what is the future agreements that the United States of America wants to see happening with Iran. If he's a real peacemaker or if he's a businessman maker, because we saw an interest from the American side to continue the nuclear program
for civilian purpose.
For civilian purpose in Iran, and in the same time American companies to run this project instead of the Iranian authorities.
Yeah, this, I don't think that there is an Iranian on earth who will hear this suggestion and will not think about Mossadegh and what happened in 1953. We are going back to the time of the Anglo-Iranian oil company, with Britain taking over completely the natural resource of the oil of Iran, and actually manipulating a coup against an elected prime minister who wanted to nationalize Iran's oil and give it back to the Iranian people. This is once again the West interfering with Iran's internal affairs and with its legal right for nuclear abilities for civilian purposes. It has the right to do that, but they are once again abusing Iran's weakness in order to take over and make money from Iran's weakness right now. We saw in 1979, how that turned out. And I think that in many senses, the revolution of 1979 in Iran was a late outcome of what happened in 1953, because that was the moment when Iran could actually go on the path of becoming a democracy, perhaps a monarch democracy. But that was the direction, and it was obstructed cynically by the West, by Britain and the United States. If they think that once again they can manipulate Iran and making profit off of its weakness right now, the outcome will wait for them in a decade or two once again. You cannot, it's been proven already when it comes to Iran. And the Iranians learned a lesson, and I think that even if Trump manages to impose such agreement because of Iran's weakness right now, I don't think it will last, and I think that the outcomes of such a step will be disastrous in the future.
Okay, and here is my last question. I don't know if you are in touch with people inside Iran.
Oh, very much so.
What I want to listen from you is if you have any feedback, how they feel about what happened with Israel, and how they feel on the way it ended up, this war with Israel, with American involvement.
You know, when Israel started speaking about, using this war to promote a regime change in Iran, the Israeli public was so happy about it, and in every studio they spoke about how the Iranian opposition will now seize the moment and take to the streets and bring down this regime. Not only from the friends that I speak with inside Iran, all of them against this regime, all of them from the Iranian opposition, but you can also see it on the social networks in Farsi. They oppose this regime very, very strongly, but they oppose even more the audacity of foreign forces to just invade and bomb their homeland on their soil because of fabricated allegations. So if anyone thought that, the Iranian opposition will, I hear completely different things from my Iranian friends. Right now they are just very relieved that the war is over. It was, I've never seen, since the Iran-Iraq war, I haven't seen footage of people leaving Tehran, escaping from Tehran. It was really heartbreaking to see those photos. So right now they are just really relieved. I think that the next step for Iranians will be to hold their own government accountable for what happened, mainly in terms of the corruption that left them completely exposed to Israeli penetration in such amazing levels. But we are still not there. I think that right now, and we saw the footage of celebrations in Iran once the war was over. I think that people in Iran just use this moment now to breathe, take a deep breath, and this is election year in Iran, by the way. So I think that they will hold their own regime accountable for what happened, but it's still too soon for that. Now they are just processing and just, taking the moment to breathe again.
Can I add one more personal question?
Sure.
You are an Israeli citizen with an Iranian origin. So when there is a war between Israel and Iran, How you can cope with this? I mean, what is going on inside you? Where you are standing? How you deal with this?
You know, for so many months I've seen the footage of the devastation of the people in Gaza, and it was heartbreaking. But when those photos came from inside Iran, from Tehran, where I grew up, it was devastating in a whole nother way. This is, you know, the cry of the people was in my mother tongue. So it was, for me, Iran was never this demon that it was made up to be in the eyes of the Israeli society. You know, I translate Iranian poetry and Iranian and Farsi prose into Hebrew. So for me, Iran is my homeland, is the birthplace of the Eastern civilization. It's the deepest and most graceful and beautiful culture in the world for me. So when I look at those footage, when, you know, Israeli airplanes just bombing Isfahan, one of the oldest cities in the world, it's not just shameful as an Israeli, but it's heartbreaking as an Iranian, because they are bombing a culture, a nation with thousands of years of history. And mostly my heart breaks for both societies, for the Iranian one, of course, but also for the Israeli society that for so many years cannot find a way to exist in this region without bullying, without occupation, without oppression, and just accepting its existence in this geopolitical environment. I think that this is not a good sign for the future of the Israeli society, which I am a part of very much.